One Piece is in its final saga, and here are 10 characters that could possibly die within this saga. Now, I want to say that I don't think all of these characters will die, but I do think a few of them will, and it's very possible several of them will get beat but won't die, so they'll be like locked up and impaled down or something similar to that. And every character I have ranked here is a really important character to the story, so I don't think there's any way that 10 super important characters die in the final saga. If you take a look at the top 10 deaths in the first 1,000 episodes of the series, number 10 is like Mont Blanc Noland or something. Was he important? Yes, but was he one of the biggest characters in the story? Not so much. But in this list, I have 10 really important characters to the story, and if they die, it will definitely make a big impact in the world of One Piece. Before we get started, I want to thank you guys on the support for the last video. That was absolutely insane, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. But enough yapping. Here's number 10. Rayleigh. Rayleigh's a character that I'm not really sure on how he will die. I can see two different options for his death. The first being that he just lives out the rest of his days watching Luffy's success as a proud mentor. Considering he was the one that trained him during the time skip, I could really see that and have Rayleigh see the full circle of what Luffy's extent comes to be by the end of the series. And once Luffy becomes king or whatever happens at the end, we can see Rayleigh die in peace, seeing the new era begin. Now the second is much different. It's that he dies in a battle, and this could literally be anywhere. He could be going to save Luffy or going to save a random kid he met 2 days ago, but I believe if he runs into any crew that's going to go to the extent of killing him, it would have to be the Blackbeard pirates. So if Rayleigh has a run-in with the Blackbeard pirates, things could get dicey for him. Number 9 is Garp. I think that Garp will be Luffy's second and last traumatic event. As we know, Ace was the first of these events for Luffy, and Garp is also just one of the guys from the first pirate era with Roger. And with his death, that will really be the event that signifies the end of the pirate era with Roger and the beginning of the new era with Luffy or whoever else. Now, I want to mention that I think Sengoku will stay alive. A lot of people out there think he's going to die, but in my mind, I see him being that old guy, the one old guy from the old era that we cut back to just randomly hear his opinions from time to time. It already happens. We kind of saw it in Dressrosa, and then also at the time the Reverie was happening, we had a couple little cutbacks to him and his thoughts on stuff, and I think that pattern will continue for Sengoku. Now, number 8 on this list is Akainu. Luffy is going to get his get back at some point and revenge Ace. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of time, and I think it either has to be Luffy or Dragon that takes down Akainu. If it's anyone else in the series, it doesn't do it justice at all. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why Dragon? Well, I wanted to include Dragon in this conversation because I feel like Dragon / Sabo, if those are the two that do this, Luffy wouldn't be as mad about it that he didn't get to take him down himself, you know what I'm saying? But that's Akainu. I think Luffy has to take down Akainu, or Akainu could get assassinated by the Gorosei or something. That's a possibility. Number 7 is Mihawk. I feel like Mihawk is pretty obvious to be on this list. I mean, ever since the Baratie, we know that something between him and Zoro is going to go down at some point. And just for the sake of Zoro's character, for him to reach his goal of becoming the world's greatest swordsman, Mihawk has to go down and has to be defeated. It will be an absolutely amazing fight once it finally happens. I cannot wait for that. And I feel like we're going to continually get secrets dropped to us about Mihawk leading up to this fight, because there's got to be something Mihawk is hiding. And with this fight, like Luffy and Akainu, I don't think anyone else other than Zoro can be the one to defeat him, unless we possibly get introduced to some top world government swordsman that takes down Mihawk and then becomes Zoro's new target. But that's very theoretical. Right now, Zoro vs. Mihawk seems pretty set up. Now, number 6 is Dragon. A lot of people think he's going to die, but I don't really see how that happens. I don't fully agree with this, but I still put him on here for a reason. I do believe, I will say, that no pirate can take him down. Any pirate crew, Shanks, whoever it is, I don't think can take down Dragon. I know we don't actually know his strength level yet, but he has to be abnormally strong, guys. If he's not strong, all the build-up over the years would be such a waste to what could be a great character. I will be actually so upset if Dragon is not as strong as we make him out to be. So like I said, no pirate's gonna be the one that takes him down. If we do see Dragon fall, it will be from Imu himself. Either that or him just getting completely ganged up 10v1 by the Gorosei or whoever else. Anyone else should not be at his level of strength and be able to take him out if he's as strong as we believe him to be. Imu and maybe 1 or 2 other guys should be the only ones capable of doing that. Now, before we get into the top 5, I want to talk about one person I think will stay alive that a lot of people seem to disagree with, and that is Sabo. A lot of people think Luffy's going to lose both of his brothers. We've already gone through that storyline. Sabo was dead, Ace died, Luffy lost both of his brothers. It's already happened. I think if Luffy's losing another family member, it's more likely Dragon or Garp. So that leads me into number 5. which is Trafalgar Law. Now, like Dragon, I don't think this one could happen, but some things have already been placed into the story to kind of foreshadow this event. In Dressrosa, we learned about the immortal operation, which basically allows Law to make someone immortal, but at the cost of his own life. So it's very possible this is how Law goes out, and if he does that operation, it's going to be on Luffy. I don't think anyone else Law cares about enough to do it on. And we've heard time and time again that Luffy's lifespan has been decreased. When he first used Gear 2, they said it, Gear 5, Gear 4, all of this says that Luffy's lifespan decreases every time you use it. I don't know if that's the truth, but that's what has been mentioned in the story. So even though I don't really think Law will be one to die, I put him number 5 because it would be a death that hits Luffy really, really hard. Law could almost be an ace level death for Luffy. So let's go into number 4, which is Marco the Phoenix. The entire One Piece community thought he was going to die in Wano. Now, I do think we will see him die, but we gotta remember his devil fruit power. He is the Phoenix. Considering that devil fruit power, we'll also see him reborn again. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Like if a baby Marco is reborn again, that's wild. I think that's how Phoenixes work. So that's how I think Marco will die, but I also think he'll be reborn. If Marco's to die and completely die, it just proves that Oda hates the Whitebeard pirates. Like, Marco's death will solidify the fact that Oda completely hates the Whitebeard pirates. First it was Ace with the whole execution, then it was the captain himself, Whitebeard, and actually before all of that it was Thatch killed by Blackbeard, and then later after the Marineford War and the Revenge War, most of the Whitebeard pirates got wiped out by Blackbeard. If Marco also goes down, it would be a very sad ending for a great crew. So I don't see him completely dying. If he does die, I see him getting reborn. Now, number 3 is Shanks. I really didn't want to include Shanks into this list, but it does seem inevitable that his death might actually happen. Something's been going on with Shanks' character lately that I don't really like. Pre-time skip at the very beginning of the story, when we see Shanks' reactions to Luffy's first bounties, he looks like a proud dad who just saw his kid score a touchdown. However, recently that has seemed to go away. When we see Shanks react to Luffy's bounties now, it's not as much of a smile and laugh and party. There's maybe a little bit of a smirk in there, but the vibe that I get is that Shanks is more excited than proud. Like, he's excited that Luffy is finally strong enough and finally has become someone worthy of rivaling him. And I know a lot of people out there feel the same way as me, because there are countless theories about Shanks giving Luffy the devil fruit on purpose. There's the whole rat-haired Shanks meme. So it's going to be interesting to see how the story plays out. If we were still in pre-time skip, I would tell you that Shanks would be proud of Luffy becoming king of the pirates. But now I don't think Shanks would be. If they met right now, Luffy would be really excited, like seeing an old pal again, but I don't think Shanks would reciprocate that energy. But with all this being said, that means Shanks might have to be taken down in the future of One Piece. Now, number 2 is a man that you're probably expecting to be on this list, and that's Blackbeard. Blackbeard is just a character that I think has to die for the story to end. Whatever the ending might be, I assume it'll at least be a positive ending for Luffy. I'm hoping. If it's a sad ending for Luffy, that'd be a terrible way to go out. But if it's a positive ending and Blackbeard is still on the prowl at the end of the show, and even at least locked up in prison, I feel like there would still be some loose ends left in the story. So Blackbeard's gotta go. Same as Akainu, I think this is a revenge battle for Luffy. Just considering what happened to Ace and any other friends and family Luffy has had get attacked by Blackbeard, Luffy's gotta take him out one-on-one. And number 1 of the upcoming deaths in One Piece, I think, is a Straw Hat crew member. Specifically, 2 guys. The first might not be a big surprise. A lot of people think he's going to die, and that is Usopp. As much as I don't want it to happen, I think it's going to. One of the Straw Hats is going to die, and Usopp is the fan favorite to die because a lot of people think that his death will finally allow him to achieve his dream of being a brave warrior of the sea. It does make sense. If he dies some sort of valiant death, he'll finally become a brave warrior. But this theory has been around for years, and Oda is known for changing things if people figure it out. If this was his plan, I think Oda has changed it already because so many people guessed it. And if it isn't Usopp, the other Straw Hat I think it will be is Jinbei. Jinbei won't hit as hard as some of the Straw Hats that have been around since the very beginning, but he's the second oldest crew member. He's up there in years. I mean, Brook can't necessarily die, so Jinbei is the next closest to death, and he's already made so many sacrifices for Luffy that him making one more final sacrifice to save the crew or something isn't out of the question. Those are my top 10 upcoming deaths in One Piece. If you agreed with my list, let me know. Like I said, I don't think everybody on this list is going to die, but at least a few of them probably will. See you guys next video.